Okay, welcome back. This is Eternal Present YouTube channel. My name is Sanni Pääkkönen and I'm here with Melinda Molnar. And we are going into deep conversations about frequency and frequency level awareness, which goes even deeper than just energetic awareness. This is deeply connected to the biostructure of the body, somatic experiences, embodiment of the spirit. So really understanding how spirit and body are not two separate things necessarily. Yes, they are different dimensions of us, but there is this way of starting to weave these deeper aspects together so that we appear as a whole individual, as a multidimensional individual, and be able to then source solutions, actions, words from that inner truth and from the space of wholeness. So we are feeling called to share more about true perfect love and eternal love today. And this has been, I don't know if it's because of February when we are recording this, and there's a lot of like the Valentine's Day and all kinds of things coming up here related to relationships and love and companionship, etc. And what we want to really bring in is like, what is the very source of love? And when I say eternal love, really connecting to the space beyond the finite world, the space beyond the linear time, and going into something that cannot be anything else than what it is. That's what really the eternal piece is. Eternal love doesn't fluctuate in and out, right? It doesn't have to be earned. It doesn't have to be like, you don't have to, well, proof is almost another word of earning love, but you don't have to prove yourself in any way to be worthy in that kind of love. That kind of love is a temporary form of love. It's a form of love or distortion from eternal love, or some kind of version that is not a permanent eternal love that cannot be anything else than what it is. And this kind of eternal love is immediately available to us through eternal presence, to the zero point of the present moment. And Melinda, I want to just hand this in for you if you have anything you want to bring in right now in this topic.
Yes, thank you, Sanni. As you were speaking, one thing I noticed, and I still see that the light is flickering on my screen, and yet everything is stationary around me. So there, I just noticed that. What I feel is that enough of us are coming into those spaces where we're walking out of the density and getting situated closer in that one truth. And so more of us standing in that sensation of that pure love. And in this space, you just don't want to leave this space. And it is in this space that what I'd call that true healing is available, meaning the simply releasing or stepping away from distortions that we used to navigate, that we used to like want to shake it off of us and coming out. And once you're stepping into this love, it is only from here that you want to create. The pristineness of it just keeps renewing in your system, and it shifts us into this new direction of walking and also a new way of living. We don't keep flopping back out. It's simply we are renewing life from this space, and it has such brilliance. The resonation is so beautiful, and as we see it on more and more people, we are coming together in this new way of stepping forth in life, and that is in the embodiment, emanation, and carrying of this true love. Because once you have a taste of this, you wouldn't want anything else.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I love that. Once you have the taste of it, you wouldn't want anything else. this is truly also my experience and what I'm hearing for so many other people's experiences. And I want to just extending this, I want to share this dream space that I had. I shared this with one of the crew programs yesterday, but wanted to share it with everyone that I had this, I call it the spirit dreaming. So where I'm physically actually there. It's not just a casual dream that happens somewhere in my head. I'm physically in that dimension when this kind of dream spaces happen. And there's always a deep teaching that comes from those spaces. And in that dream, I was there as a spirit embodiment, not necessarily as my personal self, as Sanni, but I was there with my husband. Both of us were embodiments of the spirit in that space. And I began to feel in my heart space and within my body this overwhelming sensation of love. It was almost painful. It was so strong. It was shaking my whole body. It was a deeper love that I've ever experienced in this human body, because I cannot even experience that level of love in the body, but I was experiencing it in the spirit embodiment, right? So it goes beyond what we can even comprehend here. And sometimes in these dream spaces, this is exactly like we get to experience things that we couldn't reach in this, say, the limited soul level reality. And then I felt and God, eternal God, spoke to me in my heart. And when I say God, I don't refer to any specific religious idea of God, but just eternal truth and living light in my heart. And eternal God and eternal Christ, so this is how Christ comes to me as this eternal God, spoke to me in my heart that this is how much I love you. And it was so humbling. I was just tears streaming down, understanding the level of love that a creator, a God source, has for creation. How much the unmanifest has love for the manifest. And so this goes very, very deep in this celestial love. This is the eternal love. This is the connection of God, source, and us. And where that connection happens is where the eternal love is existing. God is the manifestation of that love, and we are also the manifestation of that eternal love. This is the most intimate love that there is. And I was shown then that every single relationship and every single love that I experience here on earth is coming from this one love. So it's like the seed and core love, and everything else comes from that. So if that's not clear in the heart, also the field of relationships and love would be unclear. It may be distorted. It may be just very weak. It may be temporary, like coming in and out, and you may feel a really strong sense of loneliness or separation or lack or scarcity and all of these different things, because you're not rooted in that inner space of eternal love, right? And then I was shown how, say, heartbreaking it is that humans are so stuck with their own reality that it's like creation is falling in love with creation itself and is not loving the creator and the source back, right? Not loving God back. And obviously, like, that omnipresent intelligence of creation force is in everything, but there is that space of a free will that chooses to simply be tangled around its own belly button and not actually contributing into that eternal web, which is deeply feeding and hydrating. Prosperity, abundance, all of that fulfillment, it comes from that love, because it is the manifestation of that seed inside of us. So I wanted to share that piece, and really there's a lot of frequency keys coming through here for those who have ears to hear and eyes to see and receive this. Yeah, catch it. Like, yes, I want to know this eternal love, because that will literally change your life. It will literally change every single relationship you have, whether they are amazing or not. It will make it even more profound, or it will restore relationships that have fallen from grace.
Beautiful, Sanni. My gosh, I have so many responses to this because of just the alignment of this and the words you use. You're using free will. A few days ago, it came to me to do a frequency immersion on free will. And it is that reciprocation of acknowledgement of the creator, that when we stand on that, then we co-create, we take in and stand in that beautiful love, that unmatched love. And by being aware and taking the free will that's given to us, and I wrote it down, it's a magic wand of creation. Here is your free will. What do you will to do with it? This magic wand is laced with gold. When you're aligned into this true love, and it's creating in that responsibility that also it is giving back to that source, like the acknowledgement, the respect, the honor. And so that was about 2-3 days ago. And then yesterday, before I heard, actually, I don't think I've heard that. Well, you said it was in one of the group sessions yet. I have not heard your dream yet. Another powerful transmissions were coming through. And again, it is acknowledgement of that which gives us life. Our gift of life is from that. The amount and immensity of love that is handed to us. And say, here, come into the body. Feel it, experience, touch, smell, feel, taste. Here. All that is such gifts. And on top of it, here's your magic wand of free will. And it's as if we were children not knowing and pointing this wand and doing whatever destructions or sometimes good with it. But now we're in the space where we know. And even if you didn't know up until this point, now you can't unhear what you just heard. And that knowing keeps growing. And it's that, gosh, I seriously just did a little video on this like 30 minutes ago. In Spider-Man, there's with great power comes great responsibility. Now that you know that you are constantly backed in the love and with the love of that which creates all, of that which gave you life. And now you create with that in the cycle, giving back. This is a true love cycle. So it keeps coming. A few days ago, earlier today, now the words and the concept free will. It's like it's birthing into existence. It's birthing into the resonance of it rippling out to more and more people. That each of us carry within ourselves that love. All you have to do is step in it, and it shifts your whole existence. I'm done with this part right now.
Yeah, I got a couple of really good questions without asking those questions, but I'm gonna extend on those. And I love that the free will piece is so essential, because if we are not knowing what we're choosing, right? Because so many people are struggling with this free will. Well, what about like all this suffering and all of that? Am I just freely choosing it, right? But it's like when free will is detaching from the truth, from God within. it will begin to look for those answers and the truths from all over the place. And that creates a lot of distortion that is then, it's like a clouded mind. So we're not able to actually perceive what is actually happening, but we are seeing holograms of realities and respond from old timelines, etc. It's nobody's fault. It's just simply the fallen nature of what has happened for the humanity of separating seemingly from that truth space. So again, ignorance is the greatest enemy of human mind. When we ignore, we're not giving the honor where the honor is due, so to say. And now, again, this is not something that's just like this power that is completely outside of us, right? It is a dimension inside of us. We are that as well. We are that in our hearts. We're from that when we are that. So it is beyond our personal resources, but we are not separate from that. We've never been. And that is really deeply that space where we don't have to create love. Okay, this is the deepest deception of the human mind, that we would need to do something to create, for example, stable or successful relationship and love. But the thing is, like, it's already been created, and the only thing we need to do with a free will is to choose it, right? To choose to receive that, and that when we make that choice over and over again, even when your physical reality is not yet reflecting that, if you continue to choose that reality inside of you, it will 100% seep into your physical reality, because that is the hierarchy of manifestation. Everything happens in the spirit first. Everything happens on a frequency level first. And then as you continue to choose that, regardless of what's happening around you, you are shifting. You're literally shifting the reality that you live in. And this is bringing you closer to truth. It's like suddenly you and truth are more intimate. It's like your most intimate beloved, the most intimate provider, the most intimate true parent. Anything that you desire to receive as a contact in this world comes from that contact. And it's simply a choice inside of us. And the best thing about that, no matter what has happened to us, we always have this choice. It is easier for others to see versus those who've experienced, for example, very heavy trauma and pain, emotional, mental, physical. And it may be more difficult to see that there is a choice, but the choice is always there. That is the best thing about it. It is eternally available. It means it cannot be anything else than what it is. And this is literally something that is on the table for us. And as we continue to break our heart open, so that God can enter, so that truth can enter into that space and take over all those spaces where ignorance has been leading our life, and begin to bring the ignorance back home, the wisdom and understanding and the truth, right? It's very, very simple on a frequency level, but it's like a world apart from another. I can see people being in the same room, and if somebody has a revelation of eternal love and God's love inside of them, and the other one doesn't have, it's like day and night, right? It's like day and night. And again, I really want to emphasize that this is not some kind of like comparing thing, like this is better person than that one. We are all in this together. Humans are all in this together, and we are building an entirely new world through this building block, this foundational building block of eternal love coming alive in our hearts. And there was one more piece that I wanted to include there. Yes, so as this eternal love, this revelation of it is unfolding in our hearts, it becomes a building block of absolutely everything else in our lives. So part of that dream that I shared before was also Christ was showing to me that the love was there, the frequency of love was there. And then there was all these other frequencies, all these other powerful frequencies, peace, forgiveness, trust, whatever it is. And none of it came even close to what the frequency of love was. Love is the most powerful frequency. It is a direct manifestation of from the true source. And that was so powerful. And I've known this mentally. I've known this for a long time, but it was a direct experience for me to experience in my body. And then I was shown how, say, true success comes from the love. Trust comes from love. Forgiveness comes from love. All of these different things, like if there's no revelation of the eternal love, there is not going to be revelation of forgiveness. There's not going to be a revelation of the renewal, what you spoke of as well, Melinda. And there's not going to be a revelation of prosperity and success. Love is such a strong building block of it all. And there's so many dimensions in that, right? If you've experienced that once, don't think with pride that you have it, right? There's always deeper dimensions for you to go deeper into it, surrender deeper into it. You have your boundary and you're surrendering within that boundary, completely be swept away and be uplifted and upgraded every moment by that love. That is the true humble heart that is always willing to be corrected by that love.
Beautiful. Oh, love it. Such nourishment. Thank you. Few things that came to me in that, like when you said it's always deeper and deeper. And I experienced that, what I used to think of love or that I love it was different 6 months ago and 2 months ago and a week ago and now. And stepping into that deeper and deeper, what I can bring up is something that happened last night, and this is my personal story, but that's I can show you, right? It's right in front of your face, and probably we'll link the Facebook link of when I had a very strong message come through, and it was a very different message than what I used to think of, what I'm standing, what I'm here for, what I like to talk about, and throughout this process, this ascension process, or whatever process, whatever name you want to give it, I liked to talk about the love, the releasing the patterns, the coming into the present moment. And this message that came through yesterday very strongly from acknowledging as ancestors, I felt like, well, that's kind of almost revolutionary, or that's like looking into darker sides. And in my spine, in my spine, I felt this supporting hand, letting me know in every inch of my body that I got you. You are the messenger. You are here for this. This is coming through you for a reason. All you have to do is open your mouth, put it out there. And as I leaned back into that, this almost like, the best way I can explain it is electricity-like sensation in my body and stability held me in that space to allow to come through what came through, which is calling forth to the acknowledgement of certain patterns that we've had in humanity. And as long as any of those patterns are still in us, it will keep us away from that one truth. It will keep pulling us back, constricting in the fear part. And this is the step, this is the part that I recognize as someone who has not fully stepped into their prosperity in all ways of life, and someone who dares to take that step, not knowing exactly where that next supporting stone will come from, but knowing it, that this is the right step. And as you do, as that love floods your system even deeper, then the frequencies of prosperity just start to flow also. And that step is literally like a step in between fear of the old and of control of what I knew I used to have, to I don't know, and I trust, and I know, and here it is, I feel it. What am I going to do in this empowerment? Because now this is power. So when people say you're not doing things because you're afraid of your own strength, well, times that by, 10 or whatever, it's not your own strength. It is an extremely powerful state you're stepping into. And when you're there, you will, when you're ready, when you can hold it, when you're grounding it. Because if you step too soon, I don't know if it's available to step too soon. You might sketch come into certain kinds of prosperity, like all of a sudden win the lottery. And then we know that too, people who win the lottery who are not ready, they will lose it. It's holding that space. And all you simply have to do is be in that love. It is held for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that you spoke to the fear piece there. And it's so powerful when we start looking into the functioning of the human mind in this reality is, again, I've mentioned this before many times, but it's very limited if we only rely on that, because we can only see, like, say 0.5% or 1% of what is possible actually, like in the spirit, right? And this is shifting because this field of possibilities is it's expanding, and more doors are opening up to when we understand these mechanics of creation and how we are the embodiment of that. And this piece of fear is like, say, when there is a certain thought pattern, for example, a certain experience that gets triggered in the system, for example, anxiety or continuous stress. It's really important to look beyond what's happening on this surface level and go really deep. What is the fear that is causing this in my system? Because there's always a fear at the bottom of it. Any kind of distorted, say, self-sabotage thinking or such, there's always some kind of fear. Whether it's fear of not having enough, scarcity, fear of not doing enough, fear of not being accepted by others, fear of stepping on somebody's toes, like these people-pleasing patterns, fear of physical, emotional, mental pain, whatever it is, right? So there's always a fear that we can track down within. So it's like understanding that there's this superficial conditioning that happens, and we also need that, right? It's not something that we just need to get rid of, right? We just need to clear that order inside, that we get to like witness, okay, there's this fear, and as I go deeper into it, where is that fear really connected to? What is like the umbrella, the deeper aspect of it? In a frequency level work, we do this all the time. We track things in the very root and then we pull it out. We don't have to go back and do 10 years of therapy. We don't have to go back and go through every single traumatic experience that you've done or experienced, or go back to your childhood and dig all those shadow things. It happens in the eternal presence. We're able to actually go and pull out those roots of those timelines of the system. And then really what is important there is to fill up with the presence of living light, presence of truth, presence of God, presence of eternal love. We don't want to be leaving those empty spaces to be up for grabs in our system. We want to fill them up in every corner. So this is really scanning through, like, where in my relationships, where in my life, where in my work, where in my health, that eternal love has not yet been my reality. And it is expanding that into every single dimension of your being, not just some 6 dimensions, but all of them, right? All of the dimensions in your system, including your soul, including your spirit and body. And sometimes that eternal love is taking a shape of a sword, right? Because so many people are mistaken this kind of unconditional love as like, we need to love everybody, including all the distortions and abuse and whatever has happened in your system, that we just need to continue to love these as well, love the demons of our lives, right? And for me, there's a huge distinction, because eternal love also knows the boundary, a full body no. You can use your sword, so to say, metaphorical sword in a frequency level to detach from a distortion or detach from abuse. You don't have to keep saying yes to it for the sake of not hurting somebody. You can say absolutely no to distortion and abuse and things like that. And it can come from that eternal love space, right? So there's just this huge, and I see this a lot in like the healing community of this, like, well, it's all love and peace, right? But it's not all love and peace. That's like a straight up, we can't deny that we have been living in the fallen world. And when I say fallen world, there's a fallen nature of things available. There's evil, there's distortion, there's mistruths and deceptions and lies. Now, what we can do is to stop living in that world and hop into, I say hop, but it's both ascension and descension simultaneously, where the spirit and body become more unified. And then we are no longer living in that world. We are living here in this world, but we are not of that distorted world. But that process is what's happening right now for so many people. And it's important to know the difference between distorted love and eternal love. And eternal love can take many different forms, right? And when somebody, as you Melinda said in the beginning, once you experience that, you can't lose it, right? And even when I just said, like, don't think that you have it once, and that means that that's kind of like a contradicting there, meaning that once you have the revelation of it, you can never forget it, but there's always space to grow in it, right? There's always space to go deeper and grow into that love more. As long as we are humans, as long as human race is existing, we have space to grow in love, right? And this is even like what is happening, this wave of second coming of Christ that is happening a lot outside the church, outside the religious fields, is that awakening of deeper love and understanding what it means to actually exist in the dimension of love, in the world of love. Then we become that frequency manifestation of it. We become the living testimony of it. We are the ones who are building the new systems, one by one, and step by step, breath by breath, but we are building it from a completely different foundation than where the love and the systems of this world have been existing before.
Thank you, Sanni. I love that you use breath by breath. It was almost literally those same words I wrote earlier this morning as I was streaming, that we build this new world by our breath, by each breath. I think that's what I used. But there was a part in there that I want to come back to. I feel some collective constriction. That's so funny that that's how it comes to me now. And it is that we don't just say we love everything. We do notice that there was evil that we've experienced, that it was also, it was available for the density that we lived in. We've experienced it, and now we are ready to hop, like you said. So it feels to me that a lot of people are in a lot of people's systems. There's the, oh, well, then, I've sinned, I've done this and I've done that. I've hurt others. And then the constriction with it, that then it cannot be forgiven. So you noticing and acknowledging you've done that, that's what you knew at that time. And in the coming into this love, there is that salvation. We've talked about it in earlier episodes. You are given the choice, again, your free will to choose different this time. Salvation is, it's handed to you. You have a choice to change that now. And we're not gonna hold it over your head that, 3 years ago you did this or that. No, it's, you see it, you understand it, that it was not in alignment with the truth. And now that when you're in the truth, you choose, you make that choice not to go back to that. And then as you keep living on higher grounds, if there's any pull or constriction from those off the mark events, just simply resonate out of your system. And this may take time, linear time, as it resonates out of all your fields. Just know that it's not that you're falling back into it again. It is, again, resonating out of your field. And every moment, in every breath, you have that choice to keep reaching for that higher ground and stepping for that higher grounds in alignment with that one truth, with that true love. And as you keep stepping in that, the clarity and the purity, just, that's the new grounds you walk on. And that's the new grounds you're building, and we are building this new humanity.
Yes, so it is. There is something that you shared about, well, first of all, forgiveness. I want to really come back to the forgiveness frequency. I've done a whole program around this because it's so powerful. But before that, there is danger in thinking that we already know it all. Right. Sometimes I work with people who are so full of the story of, I've already been there, done that. I know already the stuff, that I can see right off the bat that there is no room for growth, because there's such a strong identity around things that we've experienced. And some of them have been, I mean, obviously powerful, life-changing and all of that. But the moment that we stop growing and thinking that we've done it all, right? That's the moment when we stop growing. And this is directly pointing toward like the realms of light, or the heavenly realms, whatever we want to call that, is for those who have a heart, like a childlike heart, who is always willing to learn more and discover more, right? And then the other side of that coin is when people think, and this is directly what you shared there, getting tangled with their mistakes. And people, there's a huge difference between distortion and making a mistake. Okay, two completely different things. Committing sin, for example, is missing a mark. Same thing. There's a difference between missing the mark through committing sin, so to say, or engaging with distortion of how I speak about it, and missing the mark by making a mistake. Now, the difference is that the other one, we continue to live in that ignorance, and we continue to make the same mistake again and continue to carry the guilt of that mistake, which binds us to that timeline. And something in our system gets stuck in that timeline and we never grow out of it. Right? Very vicious hamster wheels are being built from that. Making a mistake, as long as we are humans, we're probably going to make mistakes. It's part of this world. It's part of our growth. It's part of evolution. It's part of learning from our mistakes. Now, the difference is, are we growing from the mistake? Are we taking the mistake that we did, notice that it happened, and then grow from it? And where the frequency of forgiveness is very important, and the action of forgiveness. And the true forgiveness is not just happening on the superficial level, and deep inside you continue to carry the bitterness, whether it's against yourself or for somebody else. The true forgiveness is really, and again, Eternal Christ is such a powerful teacher in this, because it really is this frequency of renewal. It helps to flush your system completely clear when you have the revelation of it. It flushes your system completely clean from the old timelines. It drops those weights off of your heart, off of your body, even cancers. I've seen cancers leaving people's body when they really get the note of the forgiveness frequency, and they receive the fullness of the forgiveness in every dimension of their body. And now this is so deep, and I highly recommend meditating on forgiveness every day because it is so powerful. It is the most powerful tool in being reborn and being reset and leaving the history behind so that you can be a new being we're creating our future from this moment, not from the past. As long as there's no revelation of forgiveness, we continue to create our future from the past. Now, just a simple, this is my scientific mind looking at it. It's a simple, like a physics thing, right? It's a frequency mechanics. If there is no revelation of forgiveness, you can never grow forward from this eternal space. And there's this wave coming through Earth right now where more and more people are coming home to these revelations, and it's incredible space because it really helps us to start actually communicating with each other also in the freedom of the presence instead of communicating from the past. Just the fact that you can wake up in the morning and know in your heart that, say, my wife or my husband or my child or my parent or my friend is a new being, completely new being, and then you choosing to see their best possible potential. This is you looking them through eternal love, looking them through the eyes of God in you, within you. And this alone is universe changing, world changing, life changing, because it sets the creation process in a completely different foundation,
Beautiful. I have two things in there. Back I believe last March, and that's a long time in these last 10 months, and what I knew then and what I know now. So I set out to do a meditation on self-care or self-love. And during the meditation, forgiveness came in, that it's a necessary step. You just come upon it. And as it was coming into my system and I was saying it, I'm like, whoa, okay, this is not where I thought it would be. And as I allowed it to come more, just where it elevated me, or just where that frequency, when it enters your consciousness also, so not just your body, but you bring it into consciousness, into the mind, it just like this gift of wonderfulness, and like, whoa, I can just stay on this for however long I want, because this is a very strong base. It's a needed base. So that's one of the comments. The other one is when you say recognizing that our loved ones wake up renewed every day. I had the honor of having a 5-month-old baby near me for 3 days, and looking into her eyes. I mean, we love looking into baby's eyes, and being who I am, looking into her eyes in that clarity. And she just locked eyes with me and was like fascinated by me. And I knew that she was, what is the word? Well, this is where they say you hold the mirror, but it's that she was looking at herself through me. She was looking at that through the eyes of the Creator, that look at what you are. And it was so wonderful to hear the mother say, wow, she has this connection with you. She's mesmerized by you. Like, not me, it's what comes through me, but yet me. Because, yes, it is me. That's what I have.
I love that. Yeah, babies are such clear mirrors to infinity. And we get to really get a glimpse of our true nature, both through birth portals, but also death portals, because there's a lot of medicine in those spaces. And wow, I just like really love the I could see the baby's brilliant light in your eyes when you were sharing about that. Yeah, and creating these new, totally new platforms as human beings, like humanity, like a whole humanity. This is never just about ourselves. It's never just about our personal will. It's always about that greater eternal purpose that we are here to serve. And really the revelation of and revolution of eternal love that is sweeping through people's hearts is going to be changing many things these next few years. And I'm really excited for this to come alive. You see more light coming through people's eyes. And you also see more solutions. You see solutions perhaps for yourself, but perhaps somebody else in your life too who's really deeply struggling. You know, there's a lot of people who are struggling a lot of people who feel like they could never know that love, or they are completely disconnected from that love, or that for whatever reason it is. And just wanting to put out this prayer that whoever is listening to this, if you have that desire in your heart to know eternal love, open up for it today. Open up for it today in your prayer. The deep intimacy of the connection where your spirit and the spirit of divine, God source in you are meeting. The spark and the manifestation of love that comes from that most intimate relationship inside of you. And do this for the sake of people who are suffering. Because you can become that beacon of light and hope for those people. You can be the one who knows what to say when all words are gone. When there's a dead end and there is no way out, you can be the way shower. Hey, this is the way right here. You holding the torch in your hand. You become the living testimony, the living embodiment of that eternal love. In your way. In your way. There's a deep prayer coming through, deep blessing coming through for those who have ears to hear and eyes to see. Right, to really receive it, because that's essentially what it is about, is receiving what is already in eternal, what is already yours, that is already in you. I invite you to take a couple deep breaths here. Let this love touch your heart, touch your soul and your spirit and your body, every cell in your body. That you be awakened to the existence of this love. This is where the new world, the earth and the heavens are created from. Beautiful. And we will wrap it up here. So for the rest of the day, I invite you to see the world, see yourself in the mirror, see your beloveds, see your enemies through these eyes of love, and see also with the realistic eyes of love, right? Remembering that sword. If you need a sword, love doesn't mean that you cannot use that sword. Right? There's a boundary, and you can surrender within that boundary. Yeah. Thank you so much for tuning in today and listening. And again, this is a ripple that is happening through the world right now. So this is just saying yes to that and hydrating that reality in our hearts.
Thank you, Sanni. It was beautiful. Just, it always is. And then some episodes are just even more juicier. And this is very potent. And thank you for all those who listen, all those who feel called to press the play button on this transmission. I thank you. We're all here creating this new world.
Yes, so it is.
So it is.
Bye.
Bye.